Hey there guys, and welcome to Ask DXFan619 The Third. It's finally time that I've gotten around to recording this. I put the video up I think almost a month ago, and I'm finally now getting around to answering your questions. The big delay, for those wondering, was games I fucking hate, The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. That was the big delay because I asked myself, should I record the Q&A because this is going to take a long time? Or should I just put out the next games I fucking hate? And I decided to put out the next review. And that's basically what happened. That's the only reason that this has been delayed for so long. I'm recording this, it's Wednesday, and I hope it goes up on Saturday. And it's going to go up on Saturday because I think I'm not going to do too much editing on this video. It's going to be very podcast style. So right now you're probably seeing the music glossary, all the songs that I'm using in this video for the background. But after that, I don't think I'm going to put much effort into editing, the questions on the screen. This might just be more of a podcast-oriented video where you guys just listen to the answers and the questions that I get asked. So without further ado, let's just start this thing. I want to say beforehand, thanks for all the questions you guys have asked me. And I'm sorry if I butcher any of your names in the process of the making of this video, because I'm sure I'll get some names wrong. So let's begin. Let's go into this video here. I've got all the questions from from bottom to top. That's how I'm going to answer them. So let's start out with, let me see here. Let's start out with Courier6. He asks, what's your favorite gun in any video game and in real life? Well, my favorite gun in any video game comes down to either the flat cannon or the sniper rifle in Unreal Tournament Game of the Year edition from 1999. I've said this before, but those two weapons are fucking great. I'm deadly with both of them. And in real life, I don't really think I have a favorite gun in real life because I'm just not a big gun enthusiast. Raider0075 asks, he has a couple questions here, like 5 or 6. When do you think you'll be able to get around to making another top 20 worst games of all time? This is a question I get a lot. I get asked a lot because I've said that I'm going to make a new one, and that's going to happen someday, but not for a long time because, number one, that first video, the top 20 worst games of all time, that took a month to edit. That was a 40-minute video that took an entire month to edit. Now, realistically, I'd get it done quicker now because I think I'm better at editing, but it'd still take at least 2 to 3 weeks of just pure editing. And for comparison, the average episode of Games I Fucking Hate only takes me a week of editing, maybe 3 or 4 days of pure editing and nothing else, but this would at least take me 2 or 3 weeks. And the other reason is that it's not going to come out for a long time is because I don't have enough games to put on that list. If I do another top 20 worst games video, it's going to be an entirely new list. Bubsy 3D, Daikatana 64, Superman, Shaq Fu. None of those games will be on the new list. It's going to be an entirely new list of video games, and I haven't played enough bad games in order to make a new list of bad video games. Sure, I've played like Rambo and Survivor Instinct and all that garbage, but I haven't really played enough games. I don't think I've even played enough games to make a new top 10 list. So, yeah, there's that. He also asks, have you tried the Slaughtering Grounds or Earth 2066? I looked up Earth 2066 before I started recording, and there's no exaggeration in me saying that it's one of the worst video games, one of the worst looking, I should say. I'm sure it's horrible, but it just looks absolutely terrible. It looks like it was made in 2003, and it still wasn't finished back then. It looks fucking awful. And I guess the same goes for the Slaughtering Grounds, because that looks horrible too. I'll probably get around to playing them. I haven't played them as of right now. I've seen the videos on the Slaughtering Grounds, and it looks absolutely terrible. It's one of the worst video games of last year. I think Joe put it on his list. It looks like a real piece of shit. He also asks, Would you consider playing Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and or 3 when it's not Halloween? Sure. But I don't know when I'd buy either of them because it's just not my type of game. Like, I played the first one and it was fun and all, but Five Nights at Freddy's really isn't my type of game. And I'm not really interested in the lore like a lot of people are, so I don't know. But chances are I will play another one of them for Halloween this year. And his final question here is, what game are you most excited about for 2015? I know I've gotten this question later in the review, or later in the video. I'm only excited for one video game this entire year, and chances are I probably won't even be playing it until 2016, and that's Rise of the Tomb Raider. That's the only real game. Like, I'm looking forward to Unreal Tournament 4, which is another game we'll talk about later in this video, but that's already out, and it's out in pre-alpha mode. But the thing is, it's already playable, and even if it wasn't playable, it's probably not going to be able to be played until at least 2016. So Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is probably coming out this year. I looked at a list of video games before this that are coming out this year, and I don't really care about many of them. I didn't care about Dying Light. I didn't care about well, what was that game? The Order 1886. Bloodborne. I don't have a PlayStation 4, and I'm not getting one anytime soon, and that's for a reason. I'm just not interested in the games or the hardware, really, which is another thing we'll get to later on in this video. So thanks for asking, Raider0075. Next question comes from Nagito Komaeda. I really hope I didn't butcher that. He asks, what would you do if you had the biggest anime/manga collection in the world? Well, I'd be the richest man on the fucking planet because I'd sell most of it, because I only buy things that, like anime things that I really feel like I love. Like, I have Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood on Blu-ray. I want to buy Lane on Blu-ray. I want to buy Evangelion, the Evangelion Blu-rays when they come out. So if I had the biggest anime/manga collection in the world, I'd probably just sell most of it, because you can watch most anime online and you can read most manga online. Now, manga is kind of a different subject, because I do enjoy reading manga more when I have it as a volume than reading it online and hunched over my computer, and I just fucking hate that. But most of the anime would go. I wouldn't really have much need for it. Like, I'd probably, like, if I had the biggest collection, I'd keep Baccano. I fucking love Baccano. I'd keep Ghost in the Shell, like everything Ghost in the Shell related. What else? I'd keep Lane. And if you had Evangelion stuff, I'd keep it. I'd also probably keep some other stuff just because some would interest me. Like, if I wanted to watch something new, I could watch it on my television, which would be really cool. But I'd sell most of it. And for manga, I'm not sure. I'd probably keep a couple of things, like, I don't know, maybe Claymore, because I haven't read Claymore, Hunter x Hunter, I don't know what else, but most of the stuff would go, and I'd be very rich, because I would sell it for some ridiculous price. I don't know, like $50,000, $100,000 or something. And that's Nagito's only question. Jordan Vasquez asks, you gonna do a video while you play Rise of the Robots someday? Yes, I will play Rise of the Robots someday. I was actually planning Rise of the Robots for the next summer of 619, which a lot of you might not know what that is, but that's basically a period in the summer where I release like 20 videos in 20 days. Last year I did it, and the playlist is up on my channel if you guys want to do it. If you guys want to watch it, I should say. I played Action 52. I played Dragon's Lair. I released the second Dragon Ball Z games I fucking hate episode. So there was a lot of good stuff. I discussed Serial Experiments Lane with Keo, a friend of mine. It was a pretty good collection of videos, so I might do it again this year, and if I do it, Rise of the Robots will probably be in there. Andre Ferrari, okay, yeah, I know I fucked that name up badly. Andre Ferrariu. Yeah, I messed that up, but his question is, what are your top 3 so bad it's good video games? This is a good question because I thought about this before I answered it. I thought, like, I looked at all the questions and this one stuck out to me. Number 1, my favorite so bad it's good video game is Rogue Warrior. Rogue Warrior is just something else. It's so bad, it's so horrible, but Mickey Rourke as Dick Marcinko makes it all worth it. You got a middle-aged guy going to Korea on this fucking death mission, and his entire team gets killed, and he's a one-man army, and he's fucking muttering, "Goddamn commies, motherfuckers, shit," and he's just going through the entire nation killing people, and it's such a ludicrous concept. Like, I know this happened in real life, but it's so fucking stupid. It's, oh, goddamn shit. Oh, motherfucking commies. Oh, get dead, fuckbag. Get dead, fuckbag is an actual line in the game, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But that's my number 1. Number 2 would be Big Rigs over the road racing. Big Rigs is something else, and I know you guys must have heard of the game, you guys have seen footage, and I even did a little review of it back in the day, but Big Rigs is another game where it's just so fucking crazy. The game obviously wasn't finished, number 1. That's the main thing. The game wasn't finished. But if you've ever played this game called, what the fuck is it called? It's called like a Turbocharged Super Nightclub or some shit. It was made by the same people who made Big Rigs. And the thing is, it is a completed version of Big Rigs, basically. Except they add cars and they add bikes, but it's the same maps and it's the same mechanics as Big Rigs. So it's basically the sequel, the finished sequel. And that game fucking blows too! That game's fucking terrible! It's like they take out all the things that make Big Rigs fun, like the driving up the walls and all that shit. It's all gone from whatever the fuck the game is. Like, let me look this up right now. Because I'm at my computer, and I'm at my computer for a reason, so I can look up these games while I talk about them. But it's just fucking terrible. They take out everything that made Big Rigs a success in terms of, internet popularity, and they take this big dump on it. They take out all the physics. You can't drive backwards at the speed of light. I have the game here. Okay, here it is. Midnight Race Club Supercharged. It came out. What the fuck? Oh, no wonder this game fucking blows. Okay, so here's the release date for Big Rigs. Big Rigs came out on November 20th, 2003. Midnight Race Club came out in January of 2004. So they worked on this game for like 2 fucking months, and then they put it out. No wonder it sucks ass. But yeah, Big Rigs is the other game, and Midnight Race Club Supercharged, I have to play that game one day, because it's so horrible. It's worse than Big Rigs, because Big Rigs was at least fun to play in a sense that everything's so ludicrous and ridiculous that you can't help but laugh your ass off. Midnight Race Club Supercharged is a piece of shit. I'm looking at some stills from the gameplay right now, and they didn't even bother fixing this one texture bug in one of these levels. They didn't even bother fixing the lamp. Like, the lamp only has a UV map, which is something that people who know what textures and how they work would understand. The map doesn't have, or the lamp doesn't have a texture, so there it's just the UV map of the fucking lamp. Oh, this is ridiculous. But I have to play this game one day. And I don't know if I have another third game that's so bad it's good. I'm not really sure. Let me see if Steam is open. Steam is, let me open my Steam library, because maybe I have something here. Maybe I have something that I've forgotten about. Okay. There's Bad Rats, but I don't know. I don't really like Bad Rats, to be 100% honest. I mean, it's a fun game to joke about, but I really don't like Bad Rats. I already said Rogue Warrior, which is fucking goddamn shit amazing. So I guess there's not really anything else, at least not something else that comes to mind immediately as so bad it's good. So those are the games, Big Rigs and Rogue Warrior. If you ever get a chance to play them, do it, because it's just fucking hilarious. It's such a riot. So thank you for asking. Volgaz97, I hope I didn't mispronounce that, but he has a fuck ton of questions here. I'm gonna get to all these. He has 27 questions here. So let's get started. Number 1, most disappointing game you've ever played. I don't know, because I'm rarely ever disappointed in a video game. I don't go into video games with expectations. I don't have, I mean, I do have a little bias towards first-person shooters because they're my favorite games to play, but I don't go into games with, like, if I played a puzzle game, I'm not gonna hate it because it's not an FPS game. I just go into it knowing it's a puzzle game. Most disappointing. I don't know. I was sort of disappointed in Saints Row the Third because I played the 4th before I played the 3rd, and the 4th blows the 3rd out of the fucking water. Saints Row the 3rd is not, it's not a bad game, but it's certainly not a great game. It's nothing like the 4th. The 4th, I think, has great gameplay and a fun story and clever writing. The Saints Row the Third has none of that. I guess the gameplay is fun, but beyond that, it's lacking. The character creation and customization is also lacking. I also Unreal Tournament 2004. It's not so much disappointing. I just don't feel it's as good as Unreal Tournament 1999. Some of the weapons suck ass, or I guess suck ass is way too harsh. Some of the weapons just don't match up with their counterparts from 1999. But then again, there are Unreal Tournament 2004 makes improvements on Unreal Tournament 1999, so I guess I can't be disappointed because there are aspects of that game that are better than its predecessor. It's just I wanted a game that was better, completely in all aspects better than Unreal Tournament 1999. And I think Unreal Tournament 4 might be that game that improves on everything from UT99. So I guess that. And more games, I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm rarely ever disappointed with video games. Like, if Rise of the Tomb Raider came out and it fucking sucked, I'd be disappointed because Tomb Raider was great. One of my favorite Tomb Raider games ever. But, oh, you know what? Most disappointing, Parasite Eve 2. Parasite Eve 2 is a very, very disappointing game to me. Parasite Eve 2 is not the sequel Parasite Eve 1 deserved. I was listening to Silent Rob talk about his PlayStation 1 collection, and he came to Parasite Eve 2, or he came to Parasite Eve, and he said that the sequel sucked. And I think he said that there wasn't a reason, he didn't understand why it never came to PS2. Parasite Eve 2 was not the sequel that Parasite Eve 1 deserved. It's Resident Evil Light. It strips away many of the RPG elements from Parasite Eve 1. The story isn't as good as Parasite Eve 1. The characters aren't as good as Parasite Eve 1. The art direction is not as good as Parasite Eve 1. The music is not as good as Parasite Eve 1. I mean, there's that game. I don't hate Parasite Eve 2, but it's certainly not anywhere as good as I wanted it to be. It's very, very meh. Like, here's the problem with the story, and I don't remember who, but somebody highlighted this very well. Parasite Eve 2 has no central villain. There's no, like, Eve. Eve was the central villain in Parasite Eve, and every time you met up with her, which was frequently, she was always there. She was always the main villain, the one Aya was coming across, the one you had to beat the game. And there's none of that. There's none of that in Parasite Eve 2. I guess you have what was his name? Number 9 or Cyborg Number 9, whatever the fuck his name was. But he sucked. And I mean, after that, there's nothing really else. There's no central villain. And number 9 is barely there. Like, you see him at the beginning of the game, and then you see him kind of like towards the end, and that's it. He's barely ever there. So, Parasite Eve 2 would be a disappointing ass fucking game. And I think that's about it, because if I love something, if I love a video game franchise, and I hear that the sequel is meh, I'll give it a chance, but I'll go into it with my expectations lowered so that I can't possibly be disappointed. Like Fear 2. I'm playing Fear 2 right now, and I'm definitely not disappointed with Fear 2. People have told me Fear 2 sucks, and I don't think it sucks. There are some things that are definitely not as good as Fear 1, but there are other things that I think are better than Fear 1, so I'm definitely not disappointed with Fear 2. I might be disappointed with Fear 3, though, because I hear that game really screwed the fucking pooch. But, yeah. And oh my god, I just realized this guy has 27 questions, and I might have spent, like, 7 minutes on one. Number 2, his second question is, what is your favorite Final Fantasy game besides Final Fantasy VII? I don't really have one, because I haven't played the franchise too much. In fact, I'm abstaining from playing the franchise too much because I have to review Final Fantasy XIII, which is a game I've played, and I didn't have too many good memories about it, but I did play Final Fantasy VII and parts of Final Fantasy VIII. I also have, my friend has 10, which he's been willing to lend me, but because here's the thing, I don't have the time to play many of these games because they're very long. And I will say this, it's not a bad franchise. Maybe some missteps, it's had some missteps, but it's definitely not a train wreck of a franchise or anything like that. His third question here is, why do you hate the Nintendo 3DS, including the new one since the podcasts with gaming ethos so much? For those of you who don't know, I do a podcast with Gaming Ethos and Anonymous Killa called the Otaku Lag Podcast. You guys should go check that out. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. But basically, we had an episode where we took a huge dump on the Nintendo new 3DS, and I wouldn't say I hate it, but I hate the business practices around it, because it's classic Nintendo. It's just putting very outdated software or hardware into a console or a system and expecting people to pay for it, and they've even made some games exclusive to the new 3DS because some games can't be played on the older hardware. And I read that it doesn't include a charger, so you have to buy a charger. This is fucking stupid. Why don't you just come out with a system that, by the way, they come out with these systems too many at a time. They're gonna keep milking this 3DS party until it's fucking over. But Nintendo over the past, and we'll get to this because he asked me a question about Nintendo. Nintendo over the past at least 3 years, I think, has been declining majorly. And this year more than ever, or I guess last year, because this is all last year's news. I'm just talking about it in 2015. They have really fucked themselves with the Wii U and the new 3DS. And it's not like Nintendo has been different any time. They've always been the same company. It's just now more apparent than ever that they're so out of touch, they don't know what the fuck is going on. And that doesn't get more clearer than with the YouTube policy that they have with their network now that they've launched. But we'll get to that later. 4, favorite/least favorite actor. If you ask me on the spot, which you have, my favorite actor is Al Pacino. His performance in The Godfather Part 2 is my favorite performance of all fucking time. Him as Michael Corleone. That is just some damn good acting. Damn good acting. My least favorite actor, I don't know, because I don't watch movies and I think, wow, this guy fucking sucks. This guy is terrible. I don't think I have a least favorite actor. His 5th question is, thoughts on the modern day SpongeBob? One course meal is Daikatana. I saw One Course Meal. right before you asked me this question. Like, you put the comment up a month ago, and the next day I saw One Course Meal. Now, I didn't think it was horrible, but you have to keep in mind, I haven't seen SpongeBob in a decade. When I was watching SpongeBob, I was like 9 years old. I'm 19 now, and I don't remember much about the characters. I remember it being funny, but I don't remember much about the characters, and I guess the problem with One Course Meal is that it just fucking sucks because the characters don't make any sense. It's very out of character how the entire script was written. So, I guess the episode wasn't that great, but I just didn't notice it because I haven't seen SpongeBob in such a long time. And as a whole, modern day SpongeBob, I guess it sucks because I think the writing staff changed or something, or the producer or director changed. And I do remember watching an episode of SpongeBob like a year ago and thinking, wow, this show has really gone down the tubes because it's more kid oriented now than it ever was. So I guess it sucks. Number 6, favorite Batman game. I guess it would be Arkham City. I have it on Steam. I still haven't gotten around to playing that copy of it, but I do remember playing it for the PlayStation 3. And I guess it's that because I don't dislike Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum is a very good game, but I think Arkham City does kind of blow it out of the water. I think there's a reason that game is so wildly praised. I'm trying to think of any other Batman games that I've played. Batman Forever for the SNES is a piece of shit. I never played the GameCube Batman game, which I guess I'm gonna have to do because I've heard some people say it's great and I've heard other people say it's fucking terrible. And I guess that's it. Arkham City. Number 7, best/worst movie director. Okay, this one's a little easier because I don't think about actors when I watch movies, but I do think about directors and their works. I don't know if he's the best director. I don't think he is the best director, but my favorite director is definitely Christopher Nolan. I've seen all of his movies. I've seen Memento, Insomnia, The Prestige. The only one I haven't seen a short film that he did with his brother, I think. And I also haven't seen Interstellar yet, which I want to watch that movie so fucking badly, but I guess he's my favorite. The best? I don't know, maybe Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick was just something else. Kubrick, oh boy. I remember actually talking to someone. I was talking to Keo about Kubrick, and we were talking about his movies and all this sort of stuff. But the thing about Kubrick was that he was very unorthodox, and I remember watching The Shining when I was younger, and I remember thinking, this is such a different movie. Like, it's so atmospheric and everything, and A Space Odyssey is just so good. And his movies, you can easily distinguish his movies from anything else anybody has ever created, and I think that's something that resonates with him as a director, even though he's definitely gone now. But I guess the best would probably be Kubrick. The worst, now I'm thinking about the worst. Oh boy. Owe Boll would be up there. If I've talked about this before, but if you guys have not seen Blood Rain 3, what the fuck is that movie called? It's like Blood Rain 3 The Third Reich or something. Some fucking bullshit like that. Blood Rain The Third Reich. I'm looking this up on Google right now. Yeah, that's... No, this isn't the third one. What the fuck is that last movie called? Blood Rain... I guess it is Blood Rain The Third Reich. But that movie is so terrible. Blood Rain 3, The Third Reich, is such a terrible fucking movie that I saw this movie and there was like a sex scene and I'm like, I need this to end immediately. I cannot continue watching this fucking movie. It doesn't matter how much lesbian sex there is in this movie. Doesn't matter how much blood or how hot the protagonist is. This movie needs to fucking end. And it ended alright, but it was just so horrible. So fucking terrible. Oh, you know what though? The thing is, and I'm trying to see if there's something here because it's just so bad. Owe Boll is horrible. I think we all know that now, that Owe Boll is one of the worst directors to ever direct a film. What are some of his other masterpieces? I think he did House of the Dead. Owe Boll. Let's go on his IMDb page right now. Let's see here. Okay, we have filmography, producer. I'm not looking for his producer roles. I'm looking for his director roles. So, he did House of the Dead, which was not good. He did Alone in the Dark, which is highly regarded as a piece of fucking trash by everyone who's ever seen it. Everyone who's ever seen it has told me it's terrible. Blood Rain, the original Blood Rain movie is no good. I've seen it. And of course, there's just weird, there's a weird sex scene in the middle of it, and I still couldn't get through it. He directed Postal, which is by all means a shit movie. Blood Rain Deliverance. I haven't seen the second Blood Rain movie, but I can only imagine that it's horrible. He did Far Cry, which everybody, like, I think people have actually told me that Far Cry is one of his better films, but I'm not willing to check it out if it is. Even if it is one of his better movies. I don't give a shit, because it's probably fucking awful still. Here's the thing. Owe Boll is horrible. He is not good. His movies are shit. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. He's the only person that really comes to mind. Owe Boll, just off the top of my head, is the only person that comes to mind when I think of someone who just makes or has made horrible films. I guess you could also say Tommy Wiseau, but The Room is just such a classic film that there's no point in saying it because we already know it's terrible. Although I guess realistically you could say Tommy Wiseau.
How dare you talk to me like that?
But I don't know. I just feel that Tommy Wiseau has not made as many bad movies as Owe Boll, and Owe Boll's movies aren't even so bad they're good. Owe Boll's movies are so bad, I want to run out of the fucking movie theater. So there's that. Okay, now his eighth question here is, why do you love FPS and shooters so much? As I've mentioned before, FPS and shooters are my favorite genre of video games. And I think it all has to come down to the first video game that I really played, and the one that got me into hardcore gaming, which was Unreal Tournament in 1999. In 8th grade, someone had installed Unreal Tournament in every fucking computer in the school. I mean, and this was a huge school, so somebody went through all the trouble of installing this game on almost every computer. And we would play it during class. Of course, we weren't supposed to, but fuck it, we did anyways. And it was just something else. Like, I'd never played a game like that. I think I was like 13 at the time. And it was just something else. And to me, the appeal of I guess FPS games would be the immersion factor. Like, if you can present me a good, like, Unreal is one of my favorite video games because it has a great story, great music, great guns, and a fucking amazing atmosphere. So when I play the game, I get lost in it. And I don't feel like I can get lost in any other games that aren't first-person shooters. I don't know why that is, but with every other game, it's just not as immersive to me. I guess that would be why I love FPS games so much. His ninth question here is, what is worse, Jack Thompson or Anita Sarkeesian? I don't know. I guess they're both bad for gaming in general. And I don't really have an opinion on either of these two, and we'll get to that in a minute or two because I have something to say about both of these people and Gamergate in general. His 10th question is, what is the worst looking cartoon ever? Besides Dingo Picture and Video Brinchetto. I have never heard of that production company. I assume they're a production company. but I haven't heard of them. I have heard of Dingo Pictures, that's for fucking sure. But the worst looking cartoon ever. I'm highly inclined to say the Bubsy cartoon. And if you've never seen the Bubsy cartoon, it's up here. Like, if you want to just type in Bubsy cartoon on YouTube, it's up there. It's very, very fucking bad. I assure you, it's one of the worst cartoons you'll ever see. And I remember it looking like shit. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with that. Like, all the cartoons I remember that I've seen in my life, like Codename Kids Next Door, Teen Titans, the old Batman. Even, I mean, think about this. That Batman cartoon, what is it called? I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of the Batman cartoon. Batman, the animated series. How the fuck did I forget the name of Batman, the animated series? But anyways, here's the thing. This came out in what? 1990, originally aired on the Fox Network from September 1992. This is one of the best looking cartoons I've ever seen, and it came out in 1992, and the Bubsy cartoon must have at least come out a year or two after that, and it looks horrible. It looks absolutely terrible. Like, let me refresh my memory and look up Bubsy cartoon on I guess on Google. Okay, so I can only describe as what I'm seeing as just complete amateur work. I'm looking at a picture of Bubsy right now. His fingers look like cocks. His eyes, it looks like he's cross-eyed, and he has this weird grin on his face as if he were about to rape you. It's one of the weirdest fucking things. Like, if you can find this cartoon, you have to watch it because it's just so fucking weird. And apparently it was so bad that they only aired a single episode and then they canceled it because it did terrible in the ratings, which doesn't surprise me at all. But I guess Bubsy would be the worst looking cartoon I've ever seen. And now his 11th question here. Thoughts on Gamergate? Oh boy. I'll just say it straight up. I don't have any thoughts on Gamergate. I've seen the trouble that talking about Gamergate has gotten other people in, and right now on YouTube, I'm just trying to get better. I'm not trying to, you know, arouse controversy or whatever, and I'm trying to generally stay out of trouble. So because of that, I really have no fucking clue what Gamergate is. I have stayed so far away from this issue that, I mean, I guess the joke is that it's about ethics in video game journalism. I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea what this is about. I do know about Anita Sarkeesian though, and that's a topic I'm not going to touch, but rest assured, I don't think she's a very smart individual or anything like that. It's just, no. His 12th question is, hottest anime/manga girl? Oh boy. I don't know. I don't find myself really attracted to anime or manga women. Although, I don't know. I don't really have one. I don't know, Motoko from Ghost in the Shell, she's pretty attractive, I guess, but beyond that, I can't think of any other women that would, And I've seen a lot of anime, a lot of ecchi anime, and I can't really think of anyone. I guess it's Motoko, and I guess that's why she's my favorite female anime character. His 13th question here is, do you hate Nintendo nowadays? Copyright BS is the major problem for sure, and why? Nintendo had almost good luck in 2014 because the only two infamous games that were launched for the Wii U are The Letter, the poor man's version of Slenderman, and Sonic Boom, Rise of the Lyric. I think that's what it's called. I have no fucking idea what it's really called. I think it's called Sonic. Like, if you'll ever hear me refer to Sonic Boom, I'll just call it Sonic Boom. Do I hate Nintendo? Yes and no. I hate their business practices, but here's my summary of Nintendo. Great games, subpar hardware, shitty business decisions. Because Nintendo produces some of the best games on the fucking planet, and you'll never hear me say otherwise. I still have a soft spot in my heart for Mario, and I don't think it'll ever go away. my favorite platforming franchise, Metroid, and I love Nintendo games, but the hardware since the GameCube, I think, has been the problem. I never got a Wii U. I did never get a Wii U, but I had a Wii and I sold it because I couldn't, the controls, I could just never get my hands around the Wiimote thing. I never liked it moving around and shit. And don't get me wrong, it was great innovation. It was fantastic innovation, but at the end of the day, how many people had Wiis that just collected dust on their shelves? It just, like, if they had released the Wii U instead of the Wii, I probably would have been more inclined to get it. Now, I'm not getting the Wii U because of their shitty business practices. I talked about this with Gaming Ethos and Anonymous on the Otaku Like podcast. I am not supporting Nintendo at all after this fucking YouTube thing. And the YouTube thing is basically they made a network. You can only play their games, and the whitelist for their games is fucking pathetic. There's no Pokemon games, at least as far as I remember from having checked. No, there weren't any Nintendo games. The Smash Bros. Games weren't on there either. Bayonetta 2, which was a fucking success story last year, I think it was, that it came out and a lot of people loved it. That game's not on there. They have like 34 NES titles when the NES library has to have over 500 games. It's just Nintendo, they're so out of fucking touch. They've reached Vince McMahon in 2015 levels of out of touch. They just don't know what they're fucking doing anymore. And it's not like they ever had a real grasp of this is what everyone wants versus this is what we want for our consumers. It's just, I don't know. But you'll never hear me say anything bad about their games. Now, you might hear me criticize their games. It's like, it's always the same thing. And they hardly ever put any, like Pokemon. Pokemon has basically been the same game since the late 90s, and they've just added more things as they've gone along, but the general formula has stayed the same. That's the only probably bad criticism you'll hear me say out of Nintendo, because I still enjoy playing Pokemon games. It's just, I don't have the time, and I don't feel like getting a console or system just to play one game. His 14th question here is, favorite survival horror besides the Resident Evil franchise? I guess that's pretty simple. I guess I'd go with Silent Hill. Silent Hill is a very good franchise, which, there have been missteps in the Silent Hill franchise, but I don't think there's ever been a game that just was complete dog shit in the franchise. Even Homecoming wasn't horrendous. I mean, it certainly was not a good game. I don't think it was a good game, but I don't think it was a terrible game. Silent Hill 1 through 4 deserve to be mentioned as, in my opinion, one of the just greatest game lineups of all time. Just the music is great, the characters are great, the story is great, the atmosphere is off the fucking charts. And even though some people say Silent Hill 4 is, you know, not really a Silent Hill game, I would disagree. I do think it's a very good game still, even though it's not like the previous 3. But I guess the answer would be Silent Hill as my favorite survival horror franchise. Now, there's also Dino Crisis 1 and 2. The third one is a piece of shit. I wouldn't really call Parasite Eve survival horror because it's one game that's survival horror. Although I guess you could call Parasite Eve 2 survival horror, but And Fear. I guess Fear could categorize as survival horror, although it's more like first-person shooter horror, I guess you could call it. And nothing else comes to mind immediately, so I guess it's just Silent Hill. Number 15, do you think that 2014 was a bad year in gaming and why? Of course, it was one of the worst years in gaming. 2014 was a horrible year because it was the year that established that, in my opinion, more than other years, the hype train effect on video games. Destiny, Watch Dogs, what the fuck was that other game that came out in this 2014 that just... I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, of course, Assassin's Creed Unity. Fucking piece of shit. It came out broken. The game came out broken. It was a massively hyped game, which it shouldn't have been. And it sucked. And even more than the hype train, fuck that. It established that companies like Ubisoft can put out games that are fucking broken and unfinished, and they'll not face any fucking consequences for it. How can these companies put out... I mean, clearly, Unity was a broken game upon release. The same could be said for... Some people said the same for Watch Dogs, but it just established that they can release unfinished games and no one's ever going to do a fucking thing about it. It's not good. It's certainly not good. And here's the thing about Unity. Unity released, broken. People defended it. I don't know how people could defend the fucking game being broken. And Ubisoft patched it, and then they gave a free game, and then it all went away. And people still hate Ubisoft, don't get me wrong. It's not like Ubisoft is loved across the internet. People still think their games are terrible. But this thing, it's never going to end. People are still going to shell out money for broken fucking games, and I think 2014 was the height of that. 2014 was the height of people putting out massive amounts of money for pre-orders and just horrible games that should have at least had another year and a half of development, and just shelving as much money as they could into it and telling the companies, it's okay for you to fuck me in the ass, because that's basically what they're doing. Now, of course, that's not literally what they're doing, but I would say you're getting slapped in the face when you buy a game for $60 and it doesn't work. Halo Master Chief Collection was another one of the games that came out, and the servers were fucking broken. It was a... I remember my friend, he's a big Xbox fan, and that's how I play my Xbox games usually, because I go over to his house. We stood there for like 25 fucking minutes waiting for him to get into a match, because the matchmaking was fucking broken on Master Chief Collection. It's just a joke. It's all a joke. His 16th question here is, what are the origins about your channel? I'm glad someone asked, because this channel has been around for a long time. It's been around since like 2011. And this is kind of a long story, but I started out on YouTube as SuperDXFan619, and I did Super Mario World ROM hacks, which was a saturated market, but I tried to get into it anyways. I failed miserably, and I started doing these things called Hitler rant parodies. If you've never seen these, they're hilarious. It's basically, there's this movie called Downfall. I think it's called Der Untergang in German. I probably just botched that pronunciation, but that's what it's called. And Hitler there, it depicts like Hitler's final days. I mean, it's called Downfall for a reason. And it's an absolutely great movie. It's a brilliant movie with great performances, but someone started subtitling in English these scenes, and that's what I used to do. If you, I think there's a wiki page. I think I have a wiki page because I used to do these things. Let me see if I can, I think I used to have a wiki page. I'm looking this up on the good old interwebs. Yeah, DXFan619 got suspended. And that used to be my account, because Super DXFan619 got suspended. So I made DXFan619 got suspended, and after that account got suspended, I stopped doing the parodies, and I stopped doing the parodies, and I made DXFan619 Revisited, which was this channel, and then I started doing parodies again, and then I stopped, and the idea came to me one day. After here's the story. I saw an AVGN video. I saw AVGN do a video on Cheetahman, I think it was. Like, that was my first AVGN video, and I'm like, you know what? I think I could do this. I think I could do this, and with time, I'd be good at it. And that was the birth. That was the birth of games I fucking hate. And subsequently, my channel as it stands right now. But yeah, weird origins. Very strange origins. I went from being a ROM hacker to being a Hitler parody guy, to being a video game reviewer. So it's very, very, very strange origins, but hey, I'm here right now. Number 17, favorite Naruto and One Piece characters. I don't have any favorite characters because I don't watch or read Naruto and One Piece. I'm definitely not going to read or watch Naruto soon, but One Piece is just too fucking long, and I really do not want to get into it. I just have no interest in getting into One Piece. Number 18, a video game / cartoon / movie / anime franchise and company that used to be awesome but now sucks. Evangelion. I think the rebuilds are subpar. The third rebuild is fucking terrible. I think what is it called? 3.33 I don't even know what the fuck it's called. I forgot the name of it. But the third Evangelion rebuild, I think is terrible. And that's definitely a franchise that used to be great. I mean, it's my favorite anime. And just kind of subsequently went down the tubes once Anno decided, hey, I want to redo my franchise. And it's shit. Video game franchise that used to be awesome but now sucks. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a video game franchise that sucks but is still around, because most of the time when video game franchises start sucking, they die. I wouldn't say Call of Duty, because Call of Duty has some missteps, definitely. Like, Ghosts is a piece of shit, but Advanced Warfare was not horrible. So I guess I guess the entire franchise doesn't suck now. I don't know. Cartoons, I don't watch cartoons much anymore. A movie franchise that used to be awesome but now sucks. I don't know. Because movie franchises are less and less these days. They're not really around that much anymore, you know. Number 19. Least favorite TV episode. Not including anime and TV movies such as DBZ Battle of Gods, Truth or Square, or something like that. Least favorite TV episode. I'm trying to think. I've talked about this with Gaming Ethos and Anonymous. Episode 11 of Ergo Proxy is one of my least... I guess it would be my least favorite episode of anything. It's fucking terrible. It basically spends the entire episode telling you that Vincent is the Ergo Proxy. And it's terrible because I love a story where I have to figure things out. It intrigues me, like Lane. Lane doesn't explain itself for shit. Lane's very good. Evangelion towards the end, after episode 16, is very psychological. But Ergo Proxy, I don't think Ergo Proxy is that sort of anime. I think Ergo Proxy is the anime that tries to confuse you, and then after it's confused you, it's like, hey, wasn't that great? No, it fucking wasn't. It was terrible. I'm trying to think of something else. The last episode of Guilty Crown was shit. The last episode of Guilty Crown was one of the worst last episodes I've ever seen. The final episode of 2003 Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, the last episode of FMA 2003 was shit. I mean, Envy turns into a dragon. I'm pretty sure Lyra gets like... I guess that's a spoiler. That's a big spoiler. I won't go into that. But Envy turns into a dragon for no fucking reason. I don't think that's ever explained why he turns into a dragon. That was ridiculous. And then there's Cyborg Archer, which is another joke. That was fucking stupid. But yeah, it mostly has to do with anime, because I don't really watch... Oh, you know what? The last episode of Dexter was fucking shit. The last episode of Dexter, to me, was... I was so indifferent to Dexter at that point, because I hated Season 7 of Dexter. And Season 8 was just so bland and shit. But the last episode of Dexter was so horrible. I mean, I can't go into spoilers, but they kill off like one of the major characters. And it's just, the death is so ungratifying to that character. Even though I think that character faltered in the 7th season and was turned into an idiot. I'm like, this was one of the best characters the show had, and now you're killing them. It's okay if you kill them, but they just get killed so... It's just so unceremoniously. It's... ugh. And... I'm trying to think of another television show that just sucked ass. And I can't think of one. So, Dexter's final episode was bad. Ergo Proxy episode 11. The last episode of Guilty Crown. I'm sure there's some episodes of Dragon Ball Z that just suck, but I don't know. I can't really remember any right now. Question number 20. Favorite animatronic in Five Nights at Freddy's? Again, I don't really have I don't really have a favorite because I don't really know the lore too much. So, yeah, that's that. Number 21. Favorite / least favorite movie sequel. Oh boy. I guess by default, my favorite movie sequel of all time is The Dark Knight. And here's the thing, I don't think Batman Begins is all that great. I don't think it's a bad movie, but there's bits and pieces here that just come off as kind of cheesy, or lines of dialogue that were just bad. And The Dark Knight, holy shit. There's nothing in that movie that I thought was cheesy, lines of dialogue that were bad. I thought that was a fucking great movie all around. So I guess the favorite would be The Dark Knight. And least favorite, it's funny because I was watching Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence yesterday, and a lot of people hate the movie, but I fucking love it. Especially the opening. The opening scene is pretty amazing. But it's definitely not one of my least favorites. Let me look it up on Google since we're here. So I can't really remember one off the top of my head. Let's look one up on Google. Worst movie sequels. Maybe this can rack my brain a little. Okay. Yeah, of course, The Godfather 3 is not very good. We all know that, but I don't hate it. Scream 2, I love Scream 2, so no. Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was shit, but I don't really hate it. Rambo 3 sucked, but again, I don't hate it. I don't think it's one of my least favorite sequels. There's certainly been a lot worse than Rambo 3. Here's one that's really terrible. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I remember watching this movie and thinking it was just so fucking stupid. There's a scene in this movie where a guy, he's a black guy. I honestly, I think his name might have been Token. That's not a joke. I think his name, like, let me look up his name. Let's see what his name was. No, his name, okay, let's see this. Yeah, okay, so he punches some guy. Okay, let's see this. I'm watching the scene right now. And, okay, let me narrate this right now. Jason is fighting some black guy on a roof in Manhattan. I don't know what the guy's name is. And, damn it, what the fuck was this guy's name? Well, anyways, I'm watching the scene right now. And the guy says, take your best shot. And, motherfucker, Jason grabs him. Jason's grabbing him. Oh my fucking god, he punched him so hard, his head ripped off. And it fell into a dumpster, ladies and gentlemen, and the dumpster closed. What a great ending to that fight. Seriously, this movie is so fucking terrible. Jason Takes Manhattan. What a fucking shit movie. And here's the thing, it's not like any of these movies were well made anyways, but this movie in particular is so horrible. And if you can believe it, there's like one, Jason Goes to Hell. That movie is even worse. But I don't know if it's like my least favorite, because I would have to like the first movies in order to hate the last ones. So I don't know. I'm looking at a picture here and I'm almost sure it's a picture of the Blair Witch Project 2. Yeah, Book of Shadows. That movie was also horrible. That was one of the worst films I think I've ever seen. That was legitimately an awful movie, but I don't know. I just didn't think Blair Witch 1 was anything really special to begin with. You know what? Scream 3 sucks. Scream 3 is a terrible movie. It kills off one of the cooler characters in the first 5 minutes for no fucking reason at all. That movie sucks. And I guess I can't really think of anything because I don't hate the Matrix sequels. I don't think they're great, but I don't hate them. And, I don't know. I guess it's Scream 3. Scream 3 sucks ass. Scream 3, like, I think the only reason they made Scream 4 was because they looked at Scream 3 and they're like, we can't go out like this. Come on, we gotta make another movie. We can't go out like this. fucking Scream 3 bullshit. So I guess it's Scream 3. Favorite language besides English? This is his 22nd question. I speak Spanish, but I'm also learning Japanese at the moment, which is interesting to say the least. I guess it'd be English because it's I mean not English, Japanese, because Japanese is an interesting language. I don't know. I guess it'd be Japanese. I'm learning it, but I don't know too much of it right now. Like I know how to introduce myself. Watashi wa DXFan desu. But I don't know too much else because I literally just started like a week or two ago. And I know some words, but I'm trying to learn the entire language, not just because I have ulterior motives, I guess you could say. But like Spanish is, but although I do like Spanish as a language, Spanish is an interesting language. But I don't know. I think Japanese intrigues me more, even though it's definitely harder to learn, I think, than Spanish. But yeah. Number 23. Thoughts on Lizard Squad hackers. You're gonna hate these guys because they're reptiles. Yes, I do hate reptiles. I haven't gotten over that. I still hate reptiles of all kinds. Alligators, small lizards, snakes. You name it, I hate them. Lizard Squad is ridiculous. It's a bunch of, like, I'm sure there's one or two guys on there that actually know what the fuck they're doing, but the rest are just idiots who learn to do DDoS attacks, and it's ridiculous because these guys are assholes. I'm a PC gamer at the moment, but even I don't think what they did to PlayStation Network and Xbox Live on Christmas, even I don't think that's anything that should ever be done. That's just people being assholes. Because, I mean, look, there's little Jimmy, and he just got Call of Duty for Xbox, and he wants to play live on Christmas, and he fucking can't because these assholes took down Xbox Live. Now, you could say that's more of an indictment on fucking Microsoft because they were, and their Xbox division, because they were told that they were going to take Xbox Live down, and Sony was told that they were going to take PlayStation Network down, and they didn't do a goddamn thing about it. But at the end of the day, they were the ones who hacked it to begin with, so these guys are a bunch of fucking clowns. And I think Anonymous, and I'm talking about the organization, not the rapper, I think they took a couple of them down. I don't know, but it's just ridiculous. They need to get a life. And number 24, worst third-party company ever. Oh boy. And it can't be Crapcom. That's funny because I just bought Resident Evil Revelations 2 on Steam. I just bought it. I'm like, I was like kind of on the fence, but then I found out who the villain was. And they revealed the villain, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta play this game because I love Resident Evil so much. But, worst third-party company ever. Ubisoft. I mean, how could it be anything other than Ubisoft? Ubisoft's PC ports are shit. They don't give a fuck about the consumer at all, regardless of whether it's a console gamer or a PC gamer. They don't give a shit, and they evidenced that last year when they released Unity. They don't understand gaming, I don't think, at all. They just have people who develop games that actually do, and they get to put their fucking little stamp of approval on it. Uplay is shit. I mean, what else is there to be said? It's a terrible company. It actually beat out EA. It beat out EA. That's all that needs to be said. It beat out EA as one of the worst gaming the worst gaming company on the face of the fucking planet. It's Ubisoft. There's no other right answer to this. It's Ubisoft, plain and fucking simple. Number 25. Nintendo is a shitty company for you or a company that has a terrible direction. Like I said, it's just a company that has a bad direction. I don't know if it's Iwata, I don't know if it's Reggie, I don't know who the fuck is making these stupid decisions in there, but they gotta go. They gotta go, and Nintendo has to come into this fucking year because they're still stuck in like 2005. It's ridiculous at this point, but it's just a company with a bad direction. Number 26. Sega is going out of business again and is going to the mobile market. What do you think about this? It's sad, but at the end of the day, Sega brought this upon themselves. How many shitty fucking Sonic games have we seen in the past 10 years? You name me one Sonic game that has been of exceptional quality in the last decade. There has to be at least 15 of these games that have come out, and not one of them I would say was a great game. They've all been subpar, or they've been horrible, like Sonic 2006 and Sonic Boom, which I hear just is a... I think Modern War Negro actually put it as the worst game of last year. Sonic Boom. So it's sad, but at the end of the day, Sega brought it upon themselves. And as far as going into the mobile market, oh my god, just sad. And his last question number 27. Do you think that PewDiePie is ruining YouTube and Nintendo? Why? I actually have strong feelings about PewDiePie, and not in the way that you guys think I might. PewDiePie is a good thing for all of us, at least people who review games. At the end of the day, you have to see this from a content creator's point of view. The number one content creator on YouTube, at least single YouTuber, is a gamer. And I think he just broke like 35 million subscribers, some insane number of subscribers. That brings people to YouTube, that brings people to the gaming side of YouTube, and of course, where do I reside? On the gaming side of YouTube. So, PewDiePie is good, and regardless of my opinion on the quality of his videos, I don't see how anyone could consider PewDiePie a bad thing. Sure, I guess you can make the argument that because PewDiePie has so many subscribers, that he could be considered a bad face, I guess you would call it. Like, when people think about gaming, they're gonna think about PewDiePie and his videos where he's screaming and he... I don't know if he does this anymore, but he talks about rape and stuff like that, and I guess the argument could be made that he's bad on that front, but I just don't see how, like, without PewDiePie, where would YouTube be? Where would the gaming side of YouTube be? Because I think he has transcended YouTube, of course, and it's definitely a thing where I think where he goes, he brings people with him. And if that gets me even like 10 more subscribers because they stumbled upon one of my videos in the recommended for you because you saw PewDiePie, even that is beneficiary to all of us. So at the end of the day, I don't see PewDiePie as a bad thing. I don't think he's ruining YouTube. I think Nintendo is ruining YouTube with their fucking ridiculous, their violation of copyright, which is just ridiculous, because it's not like Nintendo's only gonna take you down if you've done a Let's Play. No, you think if I fucking reviewed Super Metroid, they wouldn't take down that review? Ridiculous. Of course they would, and they try to claim it, and they try to make all the money they could off of it. It's not just Let's Plays. Let's be honest. Let's be real here, people. It's Nintendo does more harm to YouTube than PewDiePie, in my opinion, definitely. And thank you, Volgaz97, for your 27 questions. Holy shit, how many? Oh, we're already an hour and 16 minutes into this. Holy shit. But yeah, let's get on to some more questions. Nagato Uzumaki asks, number 1, when are you going to review Sonic 06? Later this year, hopefully, because I have to buy a Hauppauge HD PVR rocket. I have to buy one of those things so I can record gameplay from my television. And because I can't play Sonic 06 on my PC. Even if there was an emulator, I honestly want to own the game. I want to have the experience of owning the game and beating it on a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. Number 2, his second question, are you going to review Elfen Lied? Quite honestly, not anytime soon. I'm actually right now in the process of watching Sword Art because I'm going to review Sword Art soon. And it's going to be a long review of Sword Art. Oof. And that's just going to be part 1 because I think there's going to be at least 4 parts of my Sword Art review. So honestly, not anytime soon. Die Hard Smoker Buddy asks, he has a few questions here. Let me click to read more. What did you think about the Halo 5 beta? Oh man. I was there. on the Twitch stream where they were talking about, or they were showing like a competitive team versus another team, Halo 5. It's not, I hate saying this about games where it's like, this is not a so-and-so game anymore, but Halo 5 is just, I don't have a problem with ADS, which is aim down sights. I've never had a problem with ADS. I feel like ADS is a mechanic that is misrepresented when it comes to games just because it's in Call of Duty and people hate it for no fucking reason. But they put it in Halo, and I remember the comments that day on the Twitch stream. People were saying, RIP Halo, this franchise is fucking dead. And of course, I don't like to make judgments on things until I've actually played them, but I can't see Halo 5 being a fantastic game. And maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a great game, but just... who's even doing it? Is it 343 this time around too? There's no way it's Bungie, but I guess it's 343, and they've just... their work on Halo has not really impressed me, and I don't think Halo 5 will either. Did you watch the anime Claymore? If so, could you review it? I haven't seen Claymore. I do want to get around to watching it. So, I don't know. Maybe if I like it, I'll review it. Maybe. His next question here is, in your opinion, why was 2014 such a shitty year for gaming, seeing that very few good games for the current gen of consoles were released? Well, like I said, it was just a shitty year for gaming because we basically told companies that we were fine with getting slapped in the face. Unity released broken. Master Chief Collection released broken online. Watch Dogs was a big fucking fiasco. Destiny was just hyped to an extreme level, and I think like the best score I've seen for it was like a 6 out of 10. Ridiculous. So, just, I don't know. I think Rich of Review Tech USA is always saying this. He says that the video game market is going to crash soon. Or not soon, but he's saying it's going to crash. And I subscribe to that theory. I do think that if we stay on the current road of releasing video games like this, companies not giving a shit, they're going to crash the entire fucking market. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be soon, but I do think it's going to happen. And his last question here is, which video editing software and recording software do you use for your videos? I'm using Audacity right now to record audio, and for editing, I use Sony Vegas Pro 13. I've been using Sony Vegas Pro since Pro 9, and I've just been upgrading and using it ever since. I really got used to the software. I like editing in it. It's clean, it's simple. Vegas does have some problems, of course, but I think that's with any video editing software. So thanks for asking. I know I've botched this name. Kateni asks, can you do a video on plumbers don't wear ties? Sure. I'll do it someday. Because, someday soon. Not someday soon. I shouldn't say someday soon, because then I say soon and it comes out in fucking November. But I guess I'll do one. I'll probably do like a DXFan619 plays on it. It'll be funny because the game sucks. And, you know, usual routine. He also asks, do you like Sonic Lost World? And I don't even remember which Sonic game this is. Let's look this up on Google. Sonic Lost World. Was this the one that came out after Generations? I think it was, and I think this game was like received negatively or something. I never played it because I'm done with Sonic games. Sonic is one of my favorite video game characters of all time, but enough is conceivably fucking enough at this point. So, I don't know. I haven't played it, and I don't think I will. Sadly. Ahmed Dennis asks, what is your opinion on Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2? I haven't played the second one, but I remember the first one being very fun. I remember the first one being, I was very surprised, like even as a child, that Luigi was getting his own game. And not because I didn't like Luigi, I love Luigi, but just the thought of a Mario character spinning off, which shouldn't have surprised me because I remember playing a Wario game for the Game Boy Color. That game was fun as fuck. I think it was like Super Mario Land 4, Wario something, but it was very fun. Luigi's Mansion, I think, set a precedent. I think it was the game that told Nintendo, look, we can do spin-offs of other characters, and people will like it as long as the game is good. So I don't have any problems with Luigi's Mansion. Unspacey Jr. asks, what are your thoughts on Kitty 0706's death? Honestly, I didn't even know who that was before this question was asked, and I have forgotten right now, so let's Google this. This is the advantage of doing this podcast style. I don't have to edit much. But who is this? Oh, the Team Fortress 2 creator. Not creator of the game, but he used to do things in, I guess, Source Filmmaker. I honestly have never seen any of his films. And I've never really been into that whole thing. Not because I don't want to be, I've just never gotten into it. But I guess this is in the same line as Monty. Monty died recently, and it's never good. It's never good to lose a fellow YouTuber or somebody who creates something that inspires other people or entertains them. That's certainly never a good thing. And I don't watch Ruby, and I've never really seen most of Monty's work, but as far as I can tell, he was a very talented individual, and so was Kitty 0706. But at the end of the day, and I've said this like the third time I've said that phrase, but it's just never a good thing for any of us to, die or go away. Derpatron 21X420X. That's a crazy name you got there. He asks, he has a list. Did you know that Kitty died? He was a good one. Yes. I just answered that. Number 2, why did you make this? I think it's always good to keep in touch with your subscribers and let them ask you questions and stuff like that. I do one of these every 6 months, I think. That's the schedule on these. Every 6 months I do one of these. And why are you answering? And like I said, it's just it's always good to have a connection with your subscribers. It's never good to not answer their comments and just pretend they're not there, because at the end of the day, you guys are me. There wouldn't be a me without you. So yeah. And finally, why are you good? I don't know, because I've got a huge cock. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I guess he means in reference to my videos. I think I've only gotten good recently. Somebody told me in the comments that I'm better than AVGN, and I don't believe that. I don't think I'm anywhere near that level. Even with my most recent video. Have I gotten better? Oh, definitely. You watch some of my videos from like 2013? Oof. I think those videos are terrible now. The videos that I make at the current moment, and the video I'm going to make on Sword Art, I think those videos are much better than the videos I used to make before. It's just an experience thing. You get better as you go along. People tell you things, they give you advice, and you gain insight. You get better at what you do. That's just how things work. Liam Kinch asks, what would be the least horrible game you've played for games I fucking hate so far? It comes down to Danger Girl or Resident Evil Survivor. It's one of those two. Those games, I gave them shit, but I think if I reviewed them today, they wouldn't be as bad as I remember them being. And number 2, his second question here, what is your favorite game mode in any Unreal Tournament game? That's a simple one to answer. Capture the Flag. I am a big Capture the Flag guy. CTF is my favorite game mode, I think, in any first-person shooter. Aside from, I guess, single player, but that's not really a game mode. That's more of a game type, I guess you could call it. But Capture the Flag is a good one. I never get tired of Capture the Flag. The maps are always very diverse, especially in the UT games. So yeah, that's my favorite game type. The Underused asks, you've mentioned a few times that you disliked Gurren Lagann, but you've never really explained why. Will there be an anime I fucking hate on it? No. I don't think I'm ever gonna go out of my way to make an anime I fucking hate on it. Namely because I'd have to rewatch it, and I don't think it's worth my time to rewatch it just to do a review on it and all of this. By the way, that review would get crapped on, because even if I stated my reasons that I feel are legitimate reasons for disliking the anime, people would just say I'm a hater, and they'd say I'm fucking stupid, and they'd say I'm shallow, and all this nonsense. I mean, I bet it'd get a lot of views, but at the end of the day, is that fucking worth it? No, it's just not worth it. I don't like Gurren Lagann because I don't think it's good. I don't think a lot of it makes sense. It's definitely something you have to turn your brain off to see, but I hate doing that. I hate having to turn off my brain to see anything, because if I have to turn off my brain to see something, that means I have to ignore something that's wrong with it, like logical fallacies. And especially the second part of Gurren Lagann, I think is the worst. Is the worst part of the series, because number one is happy-go-lucky stuff, and that's fine. That's all fine. I don't have a problem with that. But then the second half of the anime tries to take itself seriously, and that's where I do have a problem, because there's nothing to be taken fucking seriously. It's all a joke anyways. It's fucking shit. And here's the thing, I don't even remember that much of it. I saw it a long time ago. I didn't like it then. I'm certainly not going to like it now. So yeah. His next question is, where and how did you get the scream effect for Rest in Piss? I think I got it from like a random royalty-free website, as far as I remember. And how did that come about? It came about during my Cheetahman review, because I came up with the rating of bullshit, and that was going to be the ultimate rating. But then I played Cheetahman, and I'm like, this is far worse than bullshit. So I came up with the Rest in Piss, and then I thought it'd be just a funny sound effect to hear somebody like dying or something like that, and I looked up for screams, and I looked up scream sound effects, I should say, and that's how that came about. It was just a spur of the moment kind of thing. Next question is, ever heard of an anime called Puella Magica? See, I fucked up the name. Puella Magi Madoka Magica. Yeah, I've heard of it. It's written, I think, by Gen Urobuchi, who wrote Psycho Pass, which is one of my favorite anime. And I haven't seen it, and I don't think I will. I'll just be honest. I don't think I'm gonna watch Madoka Magica. Most of the people in my inner circle tell me that it's not very good, and they've stated legitimate reasons for why it's not very good. And I just have this weird thing with lowly anime, and I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe I'll watch it one day, but not right now. It's certainly not on my radar. It's like, I must watch Madoka Magica. So, yeah. How many of the AVGN episodes have you seen, and which were your favorite and least favorites? I've seen all the AVGN episodes, I think. I've seen all of them. I started in Cheetahman, and then I went back all the way to like his previous episodes, which, by the way, I think I'm gonna rewatch all of them soon, because they're just great. They're just great content to watch. But my favorite and least favorites, I really remember liking the Action 52 ones, the Cheetahman, not Cheetahman, the fuck was it called? Dark Castle was really one that just made me laugh my ass off. He did one on Big Rigs, which I thought was hilarious. But I don't remember that many off the top of my head. I mean, some of the older ones are fucking hilarious. They're just great to listen to. His next question is, have you ever played Shanti for the Game Boy Color? I have no clue what this game is. Actually, you know what? I think I know what this game is, but I'm gonna Google it just to make sure. Yeah, this is this is a platformer, right? Yeah, I heard that this is making like a comeback soon, which is interesting. But no, I have actually never played this game. I have never played the original ones, and I don't know why, but these games came out for the Game Boy. Let's see. Huh, I'm sure they'd be fun if I got into them. I love platformers. Maybe I'll legally purchase one of these games and I'll play it soon, because it seemed like fun games. Everybody tells me that these, like, I've been told about these games before and I just didn't remember, but people have told me that these games are good. These games are good, and I think there's like a Kickstarter for the next one or something that was like recently, not recently, but I do remember something being done about that. So yeah, I've never played them. His next question is, have you ever considered doing a games I fucking hate on the Zelda CDI games? Oh yeah, so that's actually on my list for this year. I want to get those done this year. I just need to find either a working CDI or a working CDI emulator, and I will play these games and I will review them. They're absolutely horrible. They're I wonder what's for dinner. They're terrible. They're shit. And it's all three of them. It's not like any one of them are good. But yeah, I have considered it, and I want to do it this year. I just don't know when. And his last question is, lastly, did you know about Sonic Boom? I said Sonic Broom. I don't know why I'm saying Sonic Broom. Maybe because you need to wipe up the franchise and throw it in the garbage. I don't know. It's a crappy Sonic game on the Wii U, believed by some to be even worse than 06. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard it's terrible. I've heard it's really fucking bad. I've heard it's, like you said, some even consider it to be worse than Sonic 06, which is mind-boggling to me because I think Sonic 06 is one of the worst games ever created. But I don't have a Wii U, so unfortunately, I won't be playing it anytime soon. Fortunately, I won't be playing it anytime soon. He actually has a couple more questions here that he asked afterwards. Will you ever continue and or complete your Vietnam Crystal playthrough? Yeah, this is a question I get. Sadly, no, because I've moved computers. I have a gaming PC now, whereas before I didn't. And all the data for the Vietnam Crystal playthrough is on that old computer. And I just don't think it's worth it to get all of the data out of the hard drive and set up for the Vietnam playthrough again. Like, don't get me wrong, maybe I'll continue it one day, but I don't know, just not in the near future. Have you ever heard of the Sonic EXE creepypasta? Yeah, I've heard it, I've read it. It's terrible. It's shit. It's hyper realistic blood. That's the best way I can describe it. What are your detailed opinions on Nintendo's amiibo figures for the Wii U, DLC such as Mewtwo for Super Smash Bros. 4, the Wii U as a whole? Well, I've already said I'm not supporting Nintendo because of this whole YouTube thing, so I'm not going to get a Wii U, but my general opinion on the Wii U is just that it's been marketed wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with the console per se. It might not be terrible. I don't think it's a terrible console. It's been marketed terribly. It's weak. It's very weak. And I think Nintendo did that on purpose because, I mean, why spend the extra money to jack up your price on the console? You know. But amiibo figures, I don't get the whole amiibo thing. I just don't get it. I mean, they're short little plastic figures. I guess collectors like them, and I understand why, but I'd never buy one of them. I would never get an amiibo figure, so I don't really have an opinion on them. Plus, and this is a little gross, but Matt, one of my friends on Twitter, I've done videos with him. He is constantly telling me about how sick fucks on Tumblr are jacking off and coming all over their amiibo figures, so I guess it's more than a collection thing for some people. Some people actually get off on them. That's pretty disgusting. And DLC such as Mewtwo for Super Smash Bros. 4. I'm not against the idea of DLC for the game, but if I remember correctly, Mewtwo was in those games as a playable character before, so I don't know if they took him out and stuck him as DLC, or what the situation there is. I think that's fucking stupid if they did that for Mewtwo. But if you tell me, we're gonna put Ridley up for DLC in Super Smash Bros. 4, then okay, that makes sense because Ridley hasn't been in any, well, he's been in the games, just not as a playable character. I think. If you tell me, we want to put who's somebody that's not in these games already. Like Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't think he's in any of the games with Sonic, I should say. If you want to put Shadow the Hedgehog as DLC, that makes sense. But Mewtwo, I think he's been in the games, so why the fuck would you take him out and put him out as DLC? I guess they're desperate for money. His next question is, how good are you at drawing? Not very good. Not very good. My drawings look like shit, generally, so yeah. And his actual last question here is, if you were a Pokemon, what type would you be and why? That's an interesting question. I've never really thought about this. I've always had a soft spot for fire type Pokemon, but I do like psychic type Pokemon. So maybe psychic, because I think that's a cool ability to have to be a type of Pokemon. Although I think there's like a combination of. Let me look this up. There's like you can be a psychic. You could be a psychic something else Pokemon. I think that was introduced into the newer games. Dual type charts. I'm looking at the Pokemon database right now. You could be psychic fire, right? Like what? Although what Pokemon is psychic fire? I have no clue. You could be water psychic. You could be grass psychic. You could be ice psychic. You could be fighting psychic. Although that sounds like a fucking amazing combination. Fighting psychic Pokemon. I don't know. So you could be dark psychic, dragon psychic. I don't know. Fighting psychic sounds cool. Fire psychic sounds cool. But if I could only choose one, I'd probably go with psychic. And I'm wondering if I should cut it off here because I've answered a lot of questions. Wow, this video is almost an hour and 40 minutes long. So you know what? Yeah, I'll cut it off here, and this will be just part 1. Part 2 will probably come out next week. I hope. Yeah, it'll probably come out next week because my Sword Art review isn't coming out for at least another 2 weeks or something like that because it's gonna be a long review, and it's only 14 episodes worth of review. But I have a lot to say about Sword Art Online, so. Thank you guys for making it to the end. This video is literally an hour and 41, 42. I'm looking at Audacity right now, and this is a long-ass video. But, hey, you guys you guys asked me a lot of questions, so I thank you for it. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you. As always, guys, peace out. Take care. Have a good one.